My arranged marriage partner was a beautiful but fragile-looking alpha. He loved acting spoiled around me, but the moment he got what he wanted, he would pretend nothing had happened. After we got married, he followed me around the house every single day, calling me honey like a clingy shadow. Sometimes he would quietly slip under the blanket beside me, his voice soft and warm as he whispered, "Can you stay close for a bit? Your scent helps me calm down. I feel like I'm losing it without you." I always thought he was delicate, gentle, easy to break. Until one day, someone tried to harass me. Before I could even react, he stepped forward with a cold expression I had never seen before and firmly restrained the man's arm, forcing him back without hesitation. The air around him turned sharp and intimidating. I just stood there, stunned. Wait, fragile? There was nothing fragile about him at all. If anything, he was dangerously possessive. My mom called me home. That night, for some reason, I ended up locked in a room with an alpha. At first, I planned to let him sleep on the floor, but when I turned around, he was looking at me with slightly reddened eyes, quiet and pitiful. His skin was pale, almost translucent, and his face was so beautiful it didn't feel real. The words I wanted to say got stuck in my throat. He coughed softly and spoke first. "Sorry, I didn't expect this to happen either. You take the bed. I'll sleep on the floor." How could I let someone who looked that fragile sleep on the ground? Seeing him already hugging a pillow and about to lie down, I quickly stopped him. "Wait, you take the bed." He froze, eyes widening a little, like he hadn't expected that answer. "Then, what about you?" he asked hesitantly. "It's fine," I said. "We can share. It's just sleeping." He shook his head immediately. "No, you're an omega." His overly serious expression annoyed me a little, so I grabbed his sleeve and pulled him onto the bed. "What are you so nervous about?" I teased. "It's just a bed. Nothing's going to happen, unless you're secretly plotting something." To my surprise, he actually gave the smallest nod. My brain short-circuited. Before I could react, he suddenly frowned and sniffed the air lightly. "Your scent, it's getting stronger," he said quietly. My heart skipped. Right. My cycle was coming, and the suppressants I took earlier had probably worn off. I tried the door, but no one answered from outside. Leaning against it, I muttered in frustration. "Great, just great. Without medication, getting through this would be miserable." "You okay?" the alpha asked behind me. Then it hit me. There was already an alpha right here. An idea formed. I walked back, grabbed his collar, and leaned against him for support. "Hey, didn't you say you'd help me?" I said, trying to sound calm. "Just stay close. Help me stabilize, okay? But behave yourself." He stiffened, clearly flustered. "Do you think this is something I can just ignore by willpower alone?" he muttered. "Did you sleep through health class or something? What does that have to do with anything?" I shot back impatiently. He let out a helpless sigh, then pulled a small bottle from his pocket and swallowed a few pills dry, like he was bracing himself. Before I could ask more, he gently wrapped his arms around me. He lowered his head near my neck and breathed in slowly, carefully, as if trying to calm both of us. His voice dropped, quieter now. "If it were some other alpha here tonight, would you ask them to help you like this too?" "Stop overthinking," I mumbled, dizzy and irritated. "You're the one here. That's all that matters." He paused. Then he laughed softly. "You're right." After that, he simply stayed close, letting his scent surround me, warm, steady, reassuring. Like a shield, the restless feeling in my body slowly eased. When it was over, I realized I was still in his arms. He held me carefully, like I might break. I heard him whisper under his breath, "Those pills only help me keep control. You really don't make this easy for me." The next morning, I woke up with a slight headache. The first thing I saw was his face, way too close to mine. He looked even paler than last night. When I turned over, my hand bumped into something beside the pillow. I picked it up. Alpha suppressants. And the bottle was completely empty. So, he really spent the whole night forcing himself to stay in control, taking medicine just to make sure nothing went wrong while I was around. As I was lost in thought, he suddenly opened his eyes. We locked gazes. I coughed awkwardly. About last night. Sorry, my head wasn't very clear. If I said anything weird, don't take it seriously." He slowly sat up, lowering his eyes. His clothes were messy, like he hadn't rested well at all. Even though he was an alpha, he somehow looked like the one who had been wronged. His eyes were slightly red, like he might cry. "It's okay," he said hoarsely. "Even if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have done anything. I know you don't really want to be with me." For some reason, my chest tightened. He quietly tidied himself up and whispered, "I'll go first." His tone sounded reluctant. Seriously, how could an alpha act this soft? Later, I found out his name was Alaric, my arranged marriage partner. Even though it was an arranged match, my mom still asked for my opinion. So, what do you think about marrying him? Memories of last night flashed through my mind. Before I realized it, I answered, it's actually not bad. She almost cried from happiness and hugged me tight. Thank goodness, Cashin. I thought you'd never agree to anyone. I pushed her away, embarrassed. It was strange. We had only met once, but somehow, I couldn't refuse him. The wedding came quickly. That night, the bedroom door opened a crack first, and then a fluffy head peeked in cautiously, like a shy cat checking its surroundings. I couldn't help laughing. He immediately stiffened, walking in with awkward steps, not even daring to look at me. He struggled with a single button for half a day. I sighed and helped him. His face instantly turned red. Thank you, he muttered, then rushed into the bathroom like he was escaping. Was my hand cursed or something? When he came out, I was just taking off my shirt. He instantly turned his head away like he'd seen something illegal. I almost laughed. Relax, I said. You're acting like I'm going to eat you. On our wedding night, he still looked more nervous than I was. After my shower, I sat beside him, drying my hair. I noticed he kept sneaking glances at my neck. When I caught him, he lowered his head immediately. You're really that shy? I teased. His eyes suddenly grew watery. It's not that, he whispered. Then what? He bit his lip and said quietly, because I like you too much. I froze. What kind of answer was that? You really like me that much? I asked. He nodded, gripping my hand carefully like it might disappear. I'm just scared I won't be able to control myself, and you don't actually want anything from me, so I'd rather hold back. And then, like always, he pulled out another bottle of suppressants. I'll be fine. I prepared plenty. That finally annoyed me. I knocked the bottle away. Stop taking those all the time. Do you want to wreck your health? I didn't marry you just so you could suffer like this. He looked at me helplessly. I'm not trying to act spoiled. You are, I said. And you don't even realize it. I grabbed his shoulders. If I didn't want this, I wouldn't have agreed to marry you. No one can force me to do anything. Got it? Only then did his tears finally stop. Later that night, we simply lay down together. He stayed close, carefully keeping a little distance like he was afraid of crossing a line. But sometime in the middle of the night, he unconsciously wrapped himself around me like an octopus, as if afraid I might disappear. The next morning, I tried to move. He immediately tightened his arms. Don't go, he murmured sleepily. Are you mad at me? I'm not, I said helplessly. It's morning, time to get up. No, just a little longer, he mumbled, burying his face against me. Let me hold you a bit more, please. Seriously, how does he know I fall for this every time? I sighed and patted his head. Fine, 1 more hour, but you're an alpha, stop acting so clingy. He blinked. I'm not acting clingy. See, acts spoiled. Still refuses to admit it. After all that fussing from him, I somehow fell asleep again. Half awake, I felt someone close to me. When I opened my eyes, his face was right there. He had just pulled back, like he'd been leaning in too close. Caught red-handed, he immediately jumped back like a startled rabbit, putting several feet between us. I touched my cheek and couldn't help laughing. If you want to get close to me, why sneak around like that? I teased, running away right after. Aren't you a little cowardly? For once, a bit of color rose to his pale face. It made him look strangely cute. Before he could react, I got up and cornered him lightly against the wall, lifting his chin. Next time, just ask. I'm not going to refuse you. I leaned in and gave him a quick, gentle peck on the cheek. He pushed weakly twice, then just froze. See? He clearly liked it. When I pulled away, he was breathing a little unevenly. Then he said something that completely threw me off. You're amazing, honey. I stared at him, trying to see if he was joking, but he just looked back shyly. Now I was the embarrassed one. After a moment, his expression suddenly turned gloomy. You're so natural at this, you must have a lot of experience, right? I flicked his forehead. Stop overthinking. There's only you. No one else. His whole face lit up instantly. He smiled and quickly brushed his lips against my cheek before darting away again, still running after every tiny show of affection. Unbelievable. After washing up, I went downstairs. From a distance, I heard Alaric talking to the staff. He prefers lighter food, nothing too strong or spicy. Prepare more snacks and keep some in the drawers. And remember, aside from me, his words come first in this house. No one is allowed to disrespect him. His tone was calm but firm, leaving no room for argument. I froze a little. How did he even know my snacking habits? And, that commanding voice sounded nothing like the soft, clingy person I knew. When he noticed me, he immediately switched back. Honey, you're up. Are you hungry? Food's almost ready. The staff nearby looked like they'd just seen a ghost. Meanwhile, I just stood there, confused. Which one was the real him? At noon, sunlight made me drowsy. Half asleep on the couch, I suddenly felt warmth beside me. A fluffy head rested against my shoulder. Without thinking, I reached out and ruffled his hair. He looked up at me apologetically. Sorry, did I wake you? No, I wasn't really sleeping. He leaned closer, almost like a clingy cat. I laughed, taking advantage of me again. Because I like you, he muttered. All morning at work, I kept thinking about you. I just wanted to stay near you. My ears heated up. Then he asked softly, almost pleading, can I stay close for a bit? Your scent helps me calm down. I sighed. I really couldn't refuse him. So I let him lean against me. He relaxed immediately, like he'd finally found something safe. Watching him like this, it was hard to connect him with the cold, authoritative person from earlier. In the end, I shook my head. Whatever. As long as he treated me well, that was enough. Living with Alaric, I slowly realized something. He understood me better than I expected. He always knew how to make me happy. The moment he got home, he'd follow me around, praising everything I did. If I protested, he'd just look at me seriously and say, but you really are amazing. At night, I usually slept early. After finishing work, he'd quietly sneak into bed like a guilty cat, lifting the blanket carefully. Every time I opened my eyes, there'd be a fluffy head resting against me. Sometimes he'd even mumble sleepily, asking to stay closer. Honestly, which one of us is the omega here? And strangely enough, his health seemed to be getting better. Still pale, yes, but clearly stronger than before. Sometimes I even wondered who the fragile one really was. One day, he suddenly said he wanted to take me to a banquet. At the event, he kept holding my arm the whole time, like he was afraid I'd disappear. Whenever he introduced me, he smiled. This is my husband. But for some reason, everyone looked terrified when he smiled back at them. Their compliments felt forced. It left me completely confused. When I said I needed the restroom, he insisted on coming with me. I imagined us walking in together like elementary school kids and immediately refused. He could only let go reluctantly. Then come back quickly, okay? He said softly. I smiled helplessly. All right, I will. I finished up quickly and walked out of the restroom, shaking the water from my hands while looking around for Alaric. But after only a few steps, someone blocked my way. A greasy-looking middle-aged alpha. His hair looked like it had half a bottle of gel in it, and he smelled strongly of alcohol. He leaned too close, smiling in a way that made my skin crawl. Hey there, cutie, came alone. Instant goosebumps. There were too many people around. I didn't want to cause a scene, so I forced myself to stay calm. I'm here with my partner. I tried to walk past him, but he grabbed my arm. I'm giving you a compliment, you know. Do you even know who I am? My patience snapped. I was seconds away from shoving him, when suddenly his wrist was caught midair. Firmly. So firm he yelped. He turned to curse, then froze. His face drained of color. Alaric. He was smiling, but his eyes were ice cold. For a second, even I felt a chill. Then he glanced at me and immediately softened his expression, like nothing had happened. It's okay, he said gently. I've got this. People nearby started whispering. That guy just hit on Alaric's husband. He really picked the wrong person. The drunk alpha began stammering apologies. I'm sorry. I didn't know. It was a misunderstanding. Alaric helped him to his feet calmly, still smiling. No need to panic, he said lightly. Just apologize properly. Then security will escort you out. His tone was polite, too polite. The man bowed over and over, apologizing to me until I got uncomfortable and told him to stop. Soon, staff came and took him away. Just like that. No shouting, no struggle. But somehow, it felt even scarier. Alaric stepped forward and wrapped an arm around me, patting my back softly. Did he scare you? He murmured. Don't worry, you won't see him again. Something caught in my throat. I didn't know what to say. That night, for once, he didn't sneak into my blanket. Instead, he said he had something to take care of and told me to sleep first. For some reason, I felt uneasy, so I followed him quietly. He didn't go far, just to a quiet corner of the garden behind the house. I hid behind a tree. A few staff members were talking to the same man from earlier. Alaric stood in front of him, putting on gloves slowly, his movements neat and unhurried. He gently tapped the man's shoulder. You remember him now, right? He asked calmly. Make sure this never happens again. The man nodded frantically. I swear it won't. Alaric's voice stayed soft. Good, because next time, you won't just be asked to leave. You'll lose every chance to step into places like this again. Understand? It wasn't loud, but it carried weight. The kind that crushed you without touching you. The man looked like he might faint. I couldn't watch anymore, so I stepped out and grabbed Alaric's sleeve. Stop. That's enough. He turned around, surprised to see me. He seemed genuinely surprised to see me. He released his grip, took off his gloves, and tossed them aside. His voice was soft, completely different from before. It's chilly tonight. Why are you out here? I just finished handling a little matter. I'll be back soon. A little matter? That was how he described it. He reached out as if to hug me, but I pulled away, stubborn. Only now did I realize, I had never really known him at all. I stared into his eyes. What did he mean when he said I'm your cure? Alaric stayed silent. After a moment, he grabbed my arm, trying to change the subject. Let's head back first. I jerked my arm free, voice sharp. I'm not leaving without an explanation. If you won't tell me, I'll ask him myself. Alaric didn't reply. His gaze darkened. I took a deep breath, pushed past him, and confronted the man. He realized he'd gotten himself into trouble. Head down, lips pressed tight. I lifted his chin gently, firm but controlled. This won't stay a secret forever. I will know eventually. If you tell me now, I might help you. If not, I can't guarantee what might happen. He hesitated, but he could see Alaric behind me, and that held him back. Eyes darting nervously, he stammered. Alaric has a condition, something he's had since birth. He can't perceive the sense of incompatible omegas, and his medication is harsh on the body. But your compatibility is remarkable. You could be called his perfect cure. My emotions tangled. Anger faded, leaving only sadness. Why couldn't he just tell me everything? I would have understood. A little affection. I would have given him attention, comfort, smiles. I could satisfy every little thing. So why keep himself so tightly guarded? Why not trust me fully? I turned to Alaric. Let him go. He hesitated, but seeing my determination, he signaled his staff. The man scrambled away as soon as he was released. Alaric looked at me, like he wanted to say something. I grabbed his arm and started walking toward the house. He followed obediently, like a child who had done something wrong. Once inside, I let go. He looked flustered, tried to reach for me, but I went straight upstairs without a word. He didn't quite understand my attitude. Following close, he began to speak. Honey, hear me out. I wasn't hiding this from you on purpose. I spun around, half laughing, half angry. You think I'm just upset because you kept secrets? You know me so well, yet I don't even know the real you. Which one is the real Alaric? Was all this just a mask to protect yourself? He paused, silent for a long moment. Finally, before my patience ran out, he spoke. You don't need to know everything. You just need to know I'll always treat you well. Yes, I have hidden some things, but it's not for my condition. I genuinely like you. Please, trust me. I scoffed. Alaric, aren't you tired? I don't need these masks. A person who won't even let me see their true self. How am I supposed to believe them? Then I quickened my pace, entered the bedroom, and slammed the door, locking it behind me. If you truly care, if you truly love me, then prove it. All I need is for you to open your heart. That alone would be enough for me. For the past few days, I had been deliberately ignoring Alaric. He, probably feeling guilty, didn't come looking for me either. I was so used to falling asleep in his arms. These days, without him sneaking into the bed, I actually couldn't sleep. During meals, I quietly observed him. He seemed to be planning something. I had overheard a phone call about property arrangements, though I didn't catch the details. My mind started racing. Had I been too harsh before? Was he feeling guilty and considering a divorce? The more I thought about it, the more it seemed likely. I just wanted him to open up to me, not leave me. I couldn't hold back any longer. Tentatively, I asked, have you thought about divorce? He lifted his eyes slightly, expression calm. After a moment's thought, he replied, I haven't, actually. That was it? So maybe he hadn't thought of it, until now. He finished his meal, wiped his mouth, and said, I'm going to the office now. Nothing more. Cold, detached. Perhaps he simply didn't want me to see his inner self. Whenever I tried to reach in, to understand him, he would curl up like a hedgehog, protecting himself with invisible spikes. But I would never hurt him. I wouldn't abandon him. Later that day, after he left, I noticed a key on the floor. It didn't look like a house key. I remembered a locked room on the third floor I'd seen while wandering earlier. It wasn't exactly honest, but curiosity got the better of me. I inserted the key into the lock. The door opened. I stepped inside carefully, found the light switch, and turned it on. The room lit up, and froze me in place. Clothes I'd tossed aside. A missing pen. Various discarded items, all collected here. The walls were filled with photos and notes. As I walked closer, my breath caught. They were pictures of me from middle school, crying alone on the way home after a fight with friends. Next to them, notes. This is the cure my mother found for me, but can he really help me? He looks so sad, so fragile. Better not let mom interfere. High school awards and moments on stage. Observing him for the 4th year. He looks so happy today. Can such a thing really make him this happy? College, first tentative dates, first crushes, written in red ink, messy handwriting. I hate him being with anyone else. Mom says it's because I like him too much, so I don't want him to belong to anyone else. I think she's right. He can only be mine. I remembered. That ex only lasted 3 days before wanting to break up. I had blamed myself, felt upset for a while. Now I realized, it probably had something to do with Alaric. The most recent photo was from last year, me drunk, squatting on the curb, crying. A note, silly. I grabbed a pen and wrote in reply. No, you are. He had been observing me for over 10 years, quietly jealous, deeply caring. These past few days, pretending not to care. I tossed the pen aside. Then I turned, and nearly jumped. Alaric was there, standing behind me like a shadow. I hadn't even heard him approach. I felt a flicker of nervousness. You came back so suddenly. He didn't answer directly, just said, now, you know the real me. I froze. He continued, I'm extreme, jealous, unable to understand others' emotions fully. My daily task is to appear normal. This is me. You know now. I realized, he had orchestrated everything in the garden, leaving the key, letting me find the room. He wasn't hiding himself. He was testing me. If I accepted him, he would lay himself open. If not, he would plan differently. Chills ran down my spine. He was far cleverer than I'd imagined. If I had found this room earlier, I would have panicked. But now, I felt strangely calm, even a little exhilarated. He had known me longer than I thought, cared more than I knew. I laughed softly. That's it. I thought it would be something huge. Are you scared? He looked at me, surprised. Then whispered, I'm a strange person. Aren't you afraid? I smirked. Silly. He froze again. I added, teasing. You know, you're really cute. I'm not afraid because I like seeing you care about me, worry about me. You could be bolder, because when you act a little spoiled, I just can't stay mad. And with that, I left him standing there, dumbfounded, and headed downstairs. During the day, I went out to have some fun. When I returned home that night, ready to sleep, I noticed the blanket was unusually bumpy. Curious, I lifted it, and froze. Alaric was tucked inside. A few buttons of his pajamas were undone, his hair tousled and soft, eyes glistening. He glanced at me cautiously, then bit his lip and closed his eyes again. I chuckled, playing the beauty trick, huh? He shook his head, explaining softly. No, I just really wanted to smell you, but you weren't home, so I wondered if there might be a little of you in the blanket. Sorry. I twitched my mouth. Honestly, if he had called me, I would have crawled back in a heartbeat. After a while, probably seeing me stay silent, he opened his eyes. He took my hand and pressed a gentle kiss to the back of it. Softly, he pleaded. Darling, I'm sorry. I won't hide anything from you anymore. I'll ask you for what I want. Please forgive me. I froze, face turning slightly red. Truthfully, I had already forgiven him. I added a condition. Then don't be so violent. Don't go breaking someone's wrist on a whim. Talk to me first before doing anything. He nodded earnestly. Then, cautiously. So, have you forgiven me now? I teased, turning my head. Not sure. He panicked, pulled me onto the bed. I fell back into his arms. He said, I was too angry that day. I saw him touch you and I nearly lost it. I'll behave from now on, I promise. Without you, my world is dull. These years, you've been the reason I keep going. Darling, please, forgive me. I couldn't hold back anymore. After all the restraint of the past few days, I melted immediately, coaxing. All right, I'm not mad anymore. Hearing that, he visibly relaxed, rubbing his head against my neck. I felt warm, a bit flushed. He noticed and asked gently, You're really warm. Let me help you. I closed my eyes and softly replied, MHM. Perhaps it was because he had me, the cure, that his body seemed to be improving more and more. In the morning, when I was sore and struggling to get up, he carefully used a warm towel to wipe the tears from my face, apologizing repeatedly. I'm sorry. I couldn't hold back. I just love your scent too much. My face burned. Softly, I said, Stop talking. He nodded, fell silent, continuing to gently care for me. Being tended to, I drifted off again, waking later feeling much better. Heading downstairs for breakfast, I found Alaric busy in the kitchen, bustling about. He placed dishes on the table, smiled at me, and said warmly, "You're awake, darling. Hungry? Sit down and eat." My heart felt warm. Not in a rush, I stepped forward and planted a gentle kiss on his cheek. He looked dazed, unsure. "Darling, what's wrong?" I shook my head, smiling. "Nothing. I just, really like you. I want to be with you forever." This story isn't really about an arranged marriage, and it's definitely not just a cute romance. At its heart, this is a story about trust, about what it means to slowly let someone see the real you. What I love most about this novel is the contrast between appearances and truth. Alaric looks fragile, soft, almost harmless, but beneath that gentle surface is someone fiercely protective, decisive, and surprisingly strong. And Cashin is the opposite. He seems calm and rational, yet he's the one who slowly gets pulled in, learning how to open his heart, learning how to accept being cared for. Their relationship doesn't grow through dramatic speeches or grand gestures. It grows through small things, daily routines, quiet protection, remembering what the other person likes, staying close, even when nothing is said. That kind of love feels real. But the novel isn't perfect. Sometimes the misunderstandings last a little too long. Some conflicts could probably be solved with one honest conversation, and Alaric's secrecy can be frustrating at times. Still, maybe that's the point. Because love isn't just sweetness, it's vulnerability. It's choosing to trust someone with your flaws, not just your strengths. And when both of them finally stop hiding, that's when the story truly becomes warm. So here's my question for you. Do you prefer a love that's gentle and patient like this, or something more intense and dramatic? And if someone had been quietly protecting you for years without you knowing, how would you feel? Tell me in the comments. I'd really like to hear your thoughts.